Hey everyone, it's Melissa and Katy again, and maybe Juliana if she chimes in.
Hello.
This is our third episode of Last Week in Stem Cells, even though you guys can only see the second and this one because we had some technical difficulties. But we want to get through this stuff quickly and not waste your time. So Melissa's going to tell y'all our first exciting stem cell story from last week.
Perfect. All right. So, according to a recent press release, Spanish scientists have figured out a way to manipulate macrophages, which is a certain type of white blood cell, into reactivating hair follicles. The result? No more baldness. The researchers actually found this on accident when they realized that mice given anti-inflammatory drugs had the curious side effect of hair growth. Can you imagine, mouse number one just fuzzball.
That has never happened to me when taking anti-inflammatory drugs.
Oh, that would have been bad. All of a sudden you wake up with a beard. So one of the researchers suggested that hair growth is connected to the body's immune reaction. Although macrophages are cells from the immune system that mainly help to fight infection and wound repair, it also seems that they play a role in activating the skin's stem cells.
Cool.
I don't know if you had anything else to say about that, Katie.
Well, I mean, we keep learning that the cell types in our body have more interactions than we previously thought, which at this point, could we just not be surprised anymore?
Yeah, let's just find everything on accident.
Yes, brilliant. All right.
Our next story is a study that investigated the impact of aging on the regenerative properties of stem cells that were isolated from multiple tissue sources in the same healthy donor. So the scientists looked at the following properties. They were looking at cell yield. Drew, we're recording. They were looking at cell yield, viability, expansion properties, proliferation, senescence, as Katie likes to call that. Stay off my lawn.
That's when your stem cells get really old and they don't want to leave their house anymore.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. They also looked at colony formation and multipotency. So the results of the study showed that MSCs are differentially influenced by aging. So the bone marrow derived stem cells had impaired proliferation, the senescence, and chondrogenic response. And the muscle derived stem cells and adipose derived stem cells actually had no negative effects.
So the good news is there are lots of different kinds of stem cells in your body, and some of them are unaffected by age.
Woo!
Hooray!
Something to look forward to in life. All right. Our next story is doctors report that bone marrow-derived adult stem cells can actually close an airway fistula, which Katie's going to elaborate on a little bit.
Which is, it's cool because I don't know if you guys are familiar with airway fistulas, but...
I'm not. Can you enlighten me?
Well, your airway is a complex tissue, and it also is always functioning as your airway, right? So you have a lot of liquids in that general area, and you have air, and it needs to make sure that your food goes into your stomach and not into your lungs. So
that kind of happens quite often with me.
Melissa apparently likes to inhale her food. But the large airway defects are difficult in terms of clinical outcomes. And so this study in the New England Journal of Medicine, they showed that using bone marrow-derived stem cells, that they could repair airway fistulas in 60 days, which apparently was kind of a big deal.
Pretty amazing.
So, all right, guys, so this next story is one that I actually stumbled on. And so there's this company, Brainstorm Cell Therapeutics, that's based out of Israel, and they're using an allogenic stem cell product to treat right now ALS. And they're in the middle of a phase 2 trial, and they've done about 14 patients. But the cool thing is that in these patients, they're only giving them one dose of this product. Unfortunately, Melissa and I searched high and low to figure out how they were administering this dose, and we couldn't figure out if, are they doing a brainstem injection, or do you just kind of roll around on needles that put stem cells everywhere? We're not sure. But with just one treatment, they were seeing substantial improvements in motor neuron degeneration rates and in kind of improved muscle movement control, which is a really big deal for something like ALS. That's just a debilitating disease.
So how about we celebrate with some ice bucket challenges?
Brilliant. Anyway, so we're looking forward to the next phase of their clinical trials and seeing how that product develops. It looks really cool. So our next story is about this protein called GDF11, and it's probably a protein that I imagine we're all going to get to know pretty well, because people have known for a while that you could take blood from a young mouse, put it in an old mouse, and that there was something in the blood that was allowing the old mouse to experience regeneration of muscles and tissues and, kind of, act like a young mouse again. But nobody really knew what it was in the blood, and if you thought, oh, hey, this is a cool treatment, I would like to be young again, I will have all of the young blood, please. That seems a little bit, untenable, and also like you're a vampire. So it's nice that these Harvard researchers did a lot of protein screening, and they figured out that this protein GDF11 is one of the ones that's different between old and young organisms. They treated old mice with GDF11, and it regenerated stem cells and terminally differentiated cells in old mice, and it stimulated DNA repair. So that's pretty cool.
So what does this say for all the people who want to do PRP treatments? PRP is just, concentrated blood. So
Yeah.
Would you think it would have plenty of this protein? Why haven't we? What should we do about it? It's
So-
kind of food for thought.
Yeah, it is, and there probably are some very real implications for PRP, and maybe we'll learn that some sort of off-the-shelf PRP product that has high levels of GDF11 is, maybe that's the holy grail of PRP, but it's kind of too soon to tell. But what I can say is I'm kind of excited, because I've been saying for a long time that I was going to live to 150 and be really happy about it.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Woo! So, watch out. Our next story, Katy came across this regulatory nightmare, and she's gonna elaborate a little bit for us.
So I stumbled across this company, and I'm always interested in other stem cell companies and what their products are and what their take is on our part of the world. And I found this company called Cynata Therapeutics, and they have this really cool animation on their website that shows the problems with using multiple donors that face current allogenic cell companies. You have to keep qualifying your donors, and they show like all of these little fantastic infographics that make it seem just completely impossible to do allogenic cell products. And then they go, we have gotten around that, we can use only one donor. And so the
Is he like Superman?
Yeah, right. Where are they finding these people? So what they're doing is they're basically making induced pluripotent stem cells, and then they're making these mesenchymal angioblasts.
There you go.
I think the second time was right. That are precursors to mesenchymal stem cells, and then from there they're making mesenchymal stem cells, and their pitch is that this is an infinite single donor mesenchymal stem cell source. And I just keep thinking of what a regulatory nightmare that must be, and what kind of quality department are they? Like, their whole company is going to be the quality department.
True. I do wonder who's the lucky guy. Why is he so special?
Maybe they'll become one of those companies where you can pick your donor. They'll have like a donor profile for you, and you can say, I want that one. He's tall and a rocket scientist.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to do that.
All right. Next story.
That's why we like autologous. We're big fans.
I am a big fan of autologous.
Anyway, our next story comes from Eileen, the Marrownator. You should follow her as well. So she did a little tweet on one of Ted's blogs from last week. Mr. Sandman, Dr. Sand. The FDA released a new draft guidance that specifically applies to the uses and potential abuses of adipose tissue. So I know there's been a lot of talk about, is adipose tissue safe? In what ways can we mechanically or whatever try to get it out of the body and concentrate it? is it legal? So this kind of is a question that goes back and forth with companies and patients and physicians. And so Dr. Sand really just wanted to, put it out there and educate people. And so he had some four main points in which he summarized the draft guidance. And he said, you need to pay attention to how you minimally manipulate the HCTP product. You need to pay attention to the use of the HCTP I cannot say that 5 times fast. HCTP to ensure it is a homologous use. Don't mix anything else with the HCTP product, and an acceptable product is intended for autologous use or allo use in first or second degree relatives. And what about once or twice removed?
Once or twice removed, I'm pretty sure you can get that if you go to the Caribbean.
Probably.
That's what I hear. In a nice spa,
Maybe.
Probably get a massage too.
Anyway. All right, guys. So that concludes our last week in stem cells. Be sure to follow us and our favorites. We had at Selling Bio, at Dr. Lightning Texas, at Cell Whisperer, at Med Rebels, at Stem Cell PhD, at Marronator. And we're going to start giving you different ones all the time.
That's true. We'll start recommending some other people next week.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thanks for listening, guys.